1 John 3, verse 5. And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Meaning he was born sinless, but he was born in a body capable of sin. Hebrews 2 or 3 says he was tempted in every point like we are, yet without sin. So he walked righteous in this body. Verse 5 again. And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth has not seen him, neither known him, meaning you're not born again anymore. Jump down to verse 9. Whosoever is born of God does not commit sin, for his seed remains in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of God. What it means is you cannot habitually sin. It's not talking about you committing a sin and then repenting and confessing and apologizing. But if you live habitually in sin, excusing sin, if you take the fact that sin does not send you to hell and use that as an excuse to sin, now you got a big problem. And what verse 9 is saying is you cannot habitually sin because his seed remains in you, which means if you are habitually sinning, that seed no longer remains in you. That's why it's impossible for you to habitually sin with Jesus' seed remaining in you, because if you are habitually sinning, the seed no longer remains in you. What you've done is, while sin itself doesn't send you to hell, your excuse to sin is saying, God, the testimony you gave of Jesus is a lie, because your word says you sent him in whom was no sin to take away sin, and if his seed remains in me, then I won't habitually sin. So if you're excusing yourself to sin, but you're still saying with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and you have a relationship with him, you're calling God a liar, because God in his word testifies of Jesus that in him was no sin and he was sent to do away with sin. And if that seed's in you, then you won't continue in sin. So your excuse to sin is you flat out in God's face, whether with your mouth or with your actions, you're saying, God, you're a liar. You never sent the Son to die and do away with sin. So the reason now you're going to hell is because that fulfilled first covenant in you, that's life, you're taking a jackhammer to that. You're absolutely destroying the witness that the Father gives of Jesus. And that's what sends you to hell, because you're destroying the covenant. You're rejecting the fulfilled first covenant, and that's what sends you to hell.